Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thanks for being with us on today's program. As always, we want to start things off with a little contact information and let you know how to get in touch with us. If you have an idea for our program, we'd love to hear from you, so simply send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. cbrady@tv24.tv is the email address. Fairs, festivals, special events, things that are going on in the community and in your neck of the woods. You know, we cover 9 counties of East Alabama, so you guys are our eyes and ears out on the street. You're how we know what's going on in your community. So send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. We're also looking for the interesting people who live in your community. Maybe you know someone who's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they have an odd or an interesting hobby and you think they'd be a great guest for the program. Those are exactly the kind of folks that we are looking for. So send me their information as well. Again, to the email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. And don't forget our website, tv24.tv, where you can go and watch on-demand versions of East Alabama Today. Simply go to the website, go to the on-demand section, click on East Alabama Today, and there you'll see a whole series of East Alabama Today shows that you can watch again in your home with your computer, your laptop, whatever serves you as most efficient. You can do that and check it out at your convenience whenever you'd like to see the show. So you can check that out at tv24.tv. Big show coming up for you in just a moment, so be sure to hang out with us. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, everyone. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. Again, I'm Carl Brady. An interesting show for you today with a lot of guests who are going to be joining us here on set. So let's get right to it. First off, I'd like to introduce you to Amy Burgess. Amy is the Etowah County Extension Service Coordinator for the Extension Service. So you serve Etowah County. Amy, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad to have you here. And we have Caleb Smith with us as well. Caleb is a participant in the 4-H Chick Chain program. We're going to tell you what Chick Chain is all about today. We're going to learn about the Chick Chain and how young people throughout Alabama, not just in Etowah County, but throughout Alabama, are learning about poultry sciences and things like that by raising chickens themselves through the Cooperative Extension Service program. So welcome to the program. Great to have you both here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Amy, start us off. Chick Chain, people hear that name and it's becoming more and more familiar to folks around the area, but what is Chick Chain?
Well, Carl, Chick Chain was started around 5 years ago. We piloted it here in Northeast Alabama. We went up to Tennessee and saw the program in action and thought that it would work really well here with our 4-H members in Alabama. So we piloted it 5 years ago, and it's pretty much taken off from the inception 5 years ago. As of this year, we're in about 40 different counties have the 4-H Chick Chain project in the state, and there's a little over 900 young people that are 4-H members across the state participating this year.
That's a lot of participation.
It is. It's a really large project. It's our state's largest animal science project. Mm-hmm. Here in our area, Etowah County is participating, Cherokee County, DeKalb, Marshall, Blount. Lots of East Alabama counties are participating. Here in Etowah County, we have around 47 young people that are taking part. Cherokee also has that same number. So between the two counties, we have around 80 young people that are doing the project. But basically, Chick Chain, young people, 4-H members sign up. They usually sign up after the first of the year, and they pay a $50 fee. And for that $50 fee, they get 18 two-day-old birds.
Wow.
2-day-old chicks from the Extension office. We offer them 5 different breeds, and they get to choose the 3 breeds that they would prefer. Mm-hmm. So they get 6 of each breed. And then those young people take part in meetings and other workshops and clinics to help them grow the birds out to the best of their ability. And they have around 20 to 22 weeks to do that. And then at the end of the project, the young people get to select their 3 best birds of one breed, and they bring it back to the county show and auction. And for us, that's at the DeKalb County Fair coming up later this month on September 27th. So all of the young people that are in the project are now kind of ramping up, and some of them are having chickens lay eggs already, and so they're all just really getting excited about the upcoming end of the project.
So they keep all of the chickens, the ones that they take to the auction and the show, then they get to keep the others?
That's right. They get 18 altogether, and they bring 3 back to us to sell at the auction. So that should leave them, if they've done everything correctly, that should leave them 15 at home to create their own home flock. And so a lot of young people create an entrepreneurship project where they're learning to sell eggs, they're learning to market their own eggs. Some of them may be selling chickens, they may be hatching out baby chicks to sell on their own. But it's a real big entrepreneurship project, and it also helps learning responsibility as well.
Absolutely. There's so many opportunities within this program, so many lessons to be learned. Entrepreneurship, like you mentioned, there's also all of the things that go along with poultry sciences nowadays, and safety of our food chain.
That's right.
And learning how to make sure that the food is raised safely, putting on booties when you go to the houses, all of those kind of things are part of what you guys teach in this program.
That's correct. Biosecurity is something that we really stress, and we stress it to the young people because the commercial poultry industry in our state is the #1 industry in this state, and so we certainly don't want to impact in a negative manner that huge commercial industry that we have. And those farmers have to take those same biosecurity measures with 1 million chickens. They only have 18, the 4-H'ers do, but they still have to go through the same things that those commercial farmers do as well. And we stress those things because they may not realize it yet, but they are creating a food supply for their family, and it needs to be the safest that they can make it. And so that's why we stress those things.
Caleb, how old are you?
I am 11 years old.
You're 11 years old. Is this your first year in the chick chain program, or have you participated? Second time. So you're an old pro at this by now.
I am.
Well, talk about the chickens that are in your care. How do you keep them? How do you take care of them? And how does this work for you?
Well, it works good. I like feeding them, and it's just fun to see them, playing around. And we keep them in one of our old dog pens, so they have more space around, and I think they like the environment that they have around our house.
What goes into caring for these chickens on a daily basis? It's more than just throwing some seed and feed out on the ground. How do you what's your daily routine with your chickens?
Well, you have to get in the pen and actually hold them so they will know that you're caring for them. And you also have to let them know that make sure that they have shelter for it, and you also need to make sure that there's nothing around that will let them have like some virus or sickness.
So you always have to be careful with making sure your hands and feet are clean and sanitized when you go into
I have
your
to
pens.
wear the same type of boots every single day that I use every single day. So,
as far as the food and things like that, are you learning to mix the nutrients in their food to get a certain result? Or you just throw them some corn? How do you do that?
You have to pick the certain feed at the store that does not have any real medication that will hurt them in there. So you have to have like just plain grains and protein, and it needs to have 22 grams in there.
Talk about the chickens that you have right now, and the ones that may be potentially going to the show. What kind of breeds do you have, and that kind of thing?
Well, I have 6. Well, I started out with 6 Buff Orpingtons, 6 White Plymouth Rocks, and 6 Easter Eggers. I had a few die, and so I cannot take that breed that died. And I'm going by what the size is and what they're gaining and how they look better, so I can do better at the auction.
Now, I know that part of this is a site inspection a couple of times where you guys go out and you do an inspection and you make sure the kids are on track with what they're doing. Talk about those inspections.
We call those home visits. We don't like to use the word inspection because that scares the kids to death. I don't confiscate any chickens.
Sounds like too much like the FDA.
It does. But we call them home visits, and we do home visits for a couple of different things. First of all, as extension agents, we want to certify verify to buyers that the chickens that are being grown in the most healthy and most humane manner that they can be. And so that's what we like to look at with the young people. But also, a lot of the young people, it's their first time to grow poultry. It may be their family's first time to grow poultry. And most folks don't want to just call up their extension agent and ask questions because they think that they're crazy questions. So most people are more likely to ask us questions if we're out seeing their area and will point out things that they may have questions about more readily if we're there on site. So the home visits is really good for us because we get to see kind of the kids in action. We get to see how they're interacting with the livestock that they have. We get to answer questions, but it's really just a time for us to enjoy seeing their creativity and how they built their homes, their runs, their coops. All of them are very different. We don't have a set of rules that they have to go by as far as coops. We give them a minimum amount of instruction and we let their creativity just run rampant. So it's really interesting for us to see all of the different ways that these young people come up with to produce those animals. And so that's really what the home visit is about, is just us certifying that they're being grown well and making sure that the young people don't have any questions.
Education is obviously the biggest part of all of this, and so along with the chick chain participation and raising the chickens, you have mandatory meetings and classroom type things that go on as well. Talk about what you teach to the kids and to the parents in those situations.
Sure. Before they can even get the baby chicks, they have to come to a mandatory meeting, and we actually ask that the 4-H'er that's going to be participating and whatever adult there is that's going to be helping them with that project. Sometimes that's a parent, sometimes it's a grandparent, or maybe even an aunt or uncle, or just a person down the street. But whatever adult's going to be helping them, we ask that they come in, and so that we can kind of talk to them about the proper way to grow chickens. Like I said, a lot of people, it's their first time to ever do so. They don't know what to feed them. They don't know what kind of shelter they need. They don't know how to protect them from predators or from wind. They don't know how much water they need every day. So we talk to them about that. We talk to them about health, about safety of the birds. We talk to them about the minimum standards that they need for their housing. We talk to them about how the project's going to go. There are lots of things that we do in the project that's 4-H specific. They have to keep records for the project. So we talk a little bit about that and kind of give them some input into things that they can do as far as records go. We really just kind of cover everything from growing the birds to marketing the birds in one night's meeting. So it's a lot to take in one night.
Over the 5 years, and you say you have about 900 participants all across the state, how many of these kids do you think, because of their experience with chick chain, are going to turn poultry sciences into a career? Do you have any idea of, just from past experience with that and the reactions?
The reactions have been that most young people that take part in this, I have had a couple that are looking at poultry science as a career, but even if they're not looking at poultry science as a career, they are all much more appreciative of where their food supply comes from. They're much more appreciative of the work that goes into every day in a farmer's life growing the food that we eat. We have the most plentiful food supply, the most safe food supply in the nation or in the country. And that's all because of America's farmers. And so these young people, if nothing else, if they don't look at it as a career choice, they at least are more appreciative of where their food supply comes from.
Right. Caleb, before we take our commercial break, we're going to talk more about this in the second segment as well, but I'll let you start a little bit. You guys and our other guests have a special project that you're working on. One of your fellow chick chain participants, just days before the chickens were distributed, lost his home and his chicken pens in a tornado up in Smith Institute. And you guys stepped in and are raising his chickens for him. Talk about the decision to do that.
First, his name is Max, and he had lost his home, like you said. And so his mom had called when she had found out that it was pickup day to pick up the chickens, and said she could not pick them up because of what had happened. So Amy had asked me, Sarah, and Dustin to step in and help. So I called my dad because my grandfather's helped me pick him up. And so our parents said yes, and we are now going to raise them for him for these 20 weeks. And then we will take his chicken to the show, and then I think he will be there. so he will get to have his chickens and auction them off.
Yeah. Awesome.
And he will use that money either to help with his house rebuilding or to build another shelter to maybe do it next year.
Right. Very good. Well, we need to take a commercial break. And you heard Caleb mention Sarah and Dustin. We're going to meet them next here on East Alabama Today. So continue hanging out with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back into East Alabama Today, continuing our discussion about the Alabama 4-H Chick Chain program. And we have a couple of other Chick Chain participants with us here. We have Sarah Oden, who is from Etowah County, joining us here. We also have Dustin Bars, and both of these young folks are raising chickens as part of the Chick Chain program. And Sarah, I know you've been involved with this previously. Is this your second year to do it as well?
3 years.
Your third year now.
Third year.
Wow.
I'm also an Alabama state certified hatchery.
Really? So you've gone from just the basic chick chain to becoming a hatchery and everything. That's interesting.
If you want to find us on Facebook, we're under the Buckingham Palace Hatchery.
Okay. Well, that's it. Well, how did you go from just starting off with 18 chickens from chick chain to now being a hatchery?
Well, my first year I did it, I got a rooster. And he was really pretty and he won lots of shows. So I said, Mom, I want to breed him. She said, okay. So we did the first year. Eggs didn't go as planned. Second year, we did not get a rooster, and we bought one to go with our reserve grand champion hen. And we've bought many eggs online. We have somebody who will actually buy the eggs, and then we raise them. He gets a hen and a rooster, and then the rest of them are ours to do whatever with.
Yeah, wow.
My stepdad, Jason, he helps me a lot. I'm very thankful for him because when I'm at school, he's helping, like he's feeding and watering my 4-H birds during the day if they run out or something. And then with the hatchery birds, he helps. And I think we have a little over 80 chickens total.
Wow.
And just counting the little boy that his house got destroyed, we have 24 4-H birds. Or 23.
That's incredible. that's a lot of birds. And Dustin, tell us about your involvement. How did you get involved, and why did you get involved with Chick Chain?
First learned about it when we had Miss Miranda Watson come to our school and started talking about it, and thought it'd be kind of cool to raise chickens and get the experience. And once I started doing it, I kind of just fell in love with doing it and liked watching them grow up, and like feeding them and going out and playing with them and just taking them to the show. And
what was your biggest surprise, or the biggest when you had the idea, I want to participate in this, then you got the chickens and you get into the process, what was the most unexpected thing that you found out?
The amount of work that goes into doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
big time.
And either one of you or both of you can answer this. Has this become a family project for you, or are you pretty much on your own with it?
Sorry.
You can go.
But it's kind of both, because you'll be outside doing it and it'll be dark and you'll get scared and you'll be like, hey, can you help me? And they say no, and you're like, well, fine, I'll do it by myself. But then there are those days where, like I said, my stepdad, he steps in during the days while I'm at school or I'm with my grandmother, and he is a blessing to our family, because originally when I started Chick Chain, it was just me and my mom. And that was a little much for us to deal with, because it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then he came, and it just got so much easier, and she feels happy because he's had chickens before, and this was our first time having them.
So having some help there with some experience made a difference.
It made a big difference, and it helped a lot.
Yeah. Well, Dustin, what about you? Is your whole family pitch in?
Yeah. We all took part in building the coop and getting everything set up, and they all helped me cleaning it out and
That's the worst part, isn't
it? Yeah.
But Sarah, I was out at your house when you had a home visit last year. We got to we'll see some video of that and some of the things that were happening. Talk about this home visit and some of the birds that we see here. What are we seeing?
That you see, that is my silver-laced Wyandotte rooster, or he was. my silver-laced Wyandotte rooster. And these are my first-year hens. That was a silver-laced Wyandotte hen and 3 Rhode Island Reds.
And here you're walking through the process with the home visit and
Yes.
see Amy there as well to explain what you're doing
Yes.
and then getting advice back from them about what you could be doing differently or
I found
better.
out some things that my birds might like for me to get them, for them to grow better, like just several things, and it was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot because this was my first year. It was my first year doing it. It was easier. It was just awesome.
You've just about become an industry now. With you've got 80 chickens and a hatchery going on.
That's not
I don't know how you have time for school and that too.
83 chickens and 5 quail.
Oh, wow!
Lovely. Love doing it. I love doing it. Hate the work that comes with it.
But do you get attached? Either one of you get attached to them like they're pets? You know, I have dogs. I'm an animal lover. I have dogs. I've had cats. I get really attached. But with livestock, you kind of have to make sure you don't get too attached, don't you? Because ultimately they're going to end up on the dinner table a lot of the time.
That's where I have the problem. I have 3 chickens that if they ended up being dinner, I would cry to death. Like I would just sit there and I'd be eating. I'd be like, I'm eating my best friend.
Well, let's talk a little bit about you guys helping Max and finding out. As we mentioned earlier, Max was he was going to participate in the chick chain program. Lives out in the Smith Institute community of northern Etowah County, where the tornadoes went through recently, and his home was destroyed. His ability to take care of the chickens was destroyed. So you guys and Caleb have stepped in, and you're raising his chickens for him. Talk about that and why y'all decided to do that.
Thought it would be just nice to help out and just raise the chickens for them while they're rebuilding their home and everything, and just wanted to help out.
So how are his chickens doing?
His are very good at my house. I don't know about Dustin's. I haven't been there to see his yet.
Real good, actually. They look great.
I feel like when my stepdad came and he helped me, I feel like this is kind of like God saying, okay, you got the help that you needed, now give the help that is needed for others.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of like my calling for the year. Because I go to Coosa Christian High School. I got saved there a few years ago. I mean, that's changed my whole life and my whole view on life. And if I see an opportunity where I just think God is saying you should do this, I take it.
Absolutely. Well, we need to take a commercial break with that, so we'll be back with a quick wrap-up segment in just a moment, so hang out. Well, folks, time to wrap up the show for today. We've been talking about the Alabama 4-H Chick Chain program. If you'd like to get involved with this or get your family, your children involved in the Chick Chain project, you can contact the Etowah County Extension Office. They're on West Meagan Boulevard, 3200A West Meagan Boulevard. But the phone number, you see it there on the screen. Or you can also go to the Cooperative Extension System website, aces.edu, and there's just a ton of information about all kinds of stuff on there. You can check that out. You can search Etowah County, you can search Chick Chain and find out all the details. We did want to remind you that the chickens that are part of this year's Chick Chain project will be, the show and sale will take place as part of the DeKalb County Fair up in Fort Payne, September the 27th. So if you want to go up and be a part of that, see the chickens, maybe buy some chickens at the auction, and of course, contact Sarah. You've got chickens for sale and things like that already. So you can give me your Facebook page again.
The Buckingham Palace Hatchery, or you can contact Jason Rains or Sonia Hallmark Oden, or just call us at 312-9577.
Okay, absolutely. Well, folks, thank you for being with us on the program today, and we hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time.